Greetings, friends of the Force, and welcome back to our archives. During his reunion with Padme on Mustafar, Anakin mentioned that they could rule the galaxy together and make things the way they wanted it to be. He said that he was more powerful than Palpatine and could overthrow him. This seems to be a rather interesting thing for Anakin to declare so soon after he gave his allegiance to Sidious mere hours earlier. Once Anakin was dubbed Darth Vader in the Senate office, he seemed to completely devote himself to Sidious. And keep in mind that around this time, he still believed that Palpatine was his friend and truly had his, as well as his wife's, best interest at heart. With all of that said, he was still fully prepared and willing to destroy Sidious in Padme's name. We get an insight as to why this is by looking into the pages of the Revenge of the Sith novelization, where it delves into Anakin's thoughts immediately after he slaughtered the Separatist leaders. Here is hugely important, as it gives us an idea of Anakin's plan. His plan to potentially leave the Sith or continue on with them. The novelization reveals something rather surprising. Anakin had planned to kill Sidious all along, and was preparing for that confrontation to follow the rise of the Empire. So now, friends and acolytes, let's take a deep dive into the mind of Darth Vader, and explore how he planned to kill Sidious from the very beginning, and potentially fulfill the prophecy in his own mind by destroying the Sith and remaking a new dark side order. On the command bridge overlooking the lava world of Mustafar, Vader contemplated his new life as a Sith. In the moment that he had a quiet moment to himself, Anakin once again shined through, betraying Vader for just one last conversation. He suddenly felt an intense guilt for all of the things that he had done, and thought about all those who had suffered from his actions, and those that would soon suffer. Despite the fact that he had convinced himself that it was good for the Republic, he couldn't help but still bear the weight of his actions. The threat of Padme's death loomed in his thoughts after a shedding of a tear for the lives lost. He remembered exactly why he was doing all of this in this moment. The passages in the novelization then say this: Darth Vader stood on the command bridge of the Mustafar control center, hand of durasteel clasping hand of flesh behind him, and gazed up through the transparasteel view wall at the galaxy he would one day rule. He paid no attention to the litter of corpses around his feet. He could feel his power growing. He had the measure of his master already. Not long after Palpatine shared the secret of Darth Plagueis' discovery, their relationship would undergo a sudden transformation, a fatal transformation. Everything was proceeding according to plan. Already, Darth Vader is planning out the continuation of the rule of two, or perhaps a new empire. Anakin knew of how dangerous Sidious was, and despite allying him within the moment, it is clear that he did not forgive him for all of the trouble and warring that the Separatists caused under his command. Darth Maul killing Qui-Gon, Count Dooku taking Anakin's arm, and then all of the turmoil and heartache that was to follow in the Clone Wars. All the Jedi lives lost, his friends killed in front of him during the endless battles, which it was now made clear that all of that still mattered to Vader. Anakin was not at all at a miss for this. He was fully aware of everything that the Chancellor had done, and he hated him for it. Anakin planned to learn of Sidious's secrets to saving Padme's life, and then ultimately kill him. He had sized up his competition and was thoroughly convinced that he was strong enough to destroy the new emperor. I think this makes a lot of sense, as we remember how Anakin was desperately trying to explain to Padme that everything was alright and was going to be fine. He tells her that he is more powerful than the Chancellor and that he can overthrow him. This line actually makes a lot more sense considering what we know from the novelization for Revenge of the Sith. Many have even interpreted this as Anakin deciding to destroy the Jedi and the Sith as he believed he was prophesied to do so, creating a new galaxy of Force wielders in his own image, creating a new order that did away with the Sith and the Jedi, one led solely by him. One other interesting note here is that in the novel, we get Anakin's inner thoughts as he speaks to the hologram of Sidious after massacring the Separatist leaders. His thoughts are bitter and cold towards his new master, and seems to only outwardly treat the situation with irony. Anakin internally ridicules Sidious's advice to be mindful, saying that he could get that much from Obi-Wan. It's clear to us now that it seems that Vader, despite having pledged fealty to his new master in the Sith way, barely had any interest in the Sith at all during these first few hours. It seems to me that Anakin had not gotten burned, then his ideology would have been much like Valkorian's, and he could have transcended the ways of both the Jedi and the Sith, and become something much more powerful. In the PlayStation 2 video game for Revenge of the Sith, there is an alternate ending to the duel on Mustafar, wherein Anakin succeeds in killing Obi-Wan. Sidious arrives on Mustafar and hands him a new red lightsaber, congratulating his apprentice. Vader then promptly ignites the saber and stabs Sidious, ending him then and there, while declaring the galaxy belonged to him.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
Don't try it!
Excellent work, my apprentice. There are none left to oppose us. The galaxy is ours now. Your new weapon, Lord Vader.
No! The galaxy belongs to me!
Of course, this is a much more simplistic version than what we believe would really happen. Vader's plan was to stay with Sidious and learn Plagueis' secret to postponing death, and then Vader would end him. I can't help but wonder though, what would happen after all of this if Obi-Wan had failed his mission on Mustafar? I do think Padme would still have died, as Anakin did not know the method of prolonging life, and she was beyond saving in that moment. It is possible that Anakin being present for her death though, would have given him the rage necessary to become fully involved with the dark side of the Force, and a new Emperor. Though I don't know if he would have managed to kill Sidious at this point. The thing is, Vader was extremely powerful as a fledgling Sith Lord. This is true. However, he was still a long way from realizing his full potential as Darth Vader. Anakin's arrogance was what got him maimed and destroyed on Mustafar by Obi-Wan in the first place. If he had succeeded in killing his Jedi Master, then his ego would have gone absolutely through the roof, and it may have landed him in a worse spot while taking on the Emperor. With that said though, Anakin could have won. What if Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker overthrew the Emperor in the coming weeks or months of the Empire, establishing himself as the galaxy's new Emperor, achieving the ultimate goal of the Chosen One in his own mind, abandoning the Sith, but at the same time the Jedi, destroying both orders with his ultimate power in the dark side of the Force, creating a balance in his head. However, at this point it would be clear that Darth Vader and Anakin would still be fully aligned with the darkness, creating an army and an empire similar to Valkorion, who similarly had a same thought, the idea that Valkorion had grown past the ideas and ideologies of the Sith and needed to establish a new eternal empire. I believe that Anakin and Vader planned to and would have created an eternal empire of their own. But now, I would love to know what all of you think of this concept. Do you believe that Anakin truly could have destroyed Sidious if he wanted to at this point in time? Or do you believe that overconfidence would prove to be his fall against Sidious and would destroy him in a moment of blindness? Let us know your thoughts down below. And as always, may the Force be with you. Go in peace, and I hope that you have a great day.